Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Medium's Table. I'm your host, Michelle Gardner. This podcast is your personal invitation to join me at the intersection of the everyday and the extraordinary. Together, we'll explore the magic of mediumship, share spiritual stories, and connect with fellow mediums on this incredible journey. So grab a seat, pour yourself a cuppa, and come join us at the Medium's Table, where spirits gather and stories unfold. Disclaimer, just a heads up to all our lovely followers. Our social media is a space where we share personal stories, including those of various mediums. Let's keep the vibe positive and respect each other's beliefs. Every journey is unique, and here we celebrate the diversity of experiences. I'd like to welcome back to the show Dawn and Julie, my sidekicks in these paranormal this little trio of episodes that we're doing. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much.
It's good to be here.
It is, and it's always good to have you guys back because I love these conversations. So many questions and we need so many answers. Now, if you haven't seen the previous two episodes, episode 29 and episode 30, we have some amazing, incredible phenomena captured on Zoom recordings, a couple of phenomena captured. Now, that was amazing. You need to see the video. Jump on YouTube and take a look at that. In episode 30, we talk about, you get to hear some sort of voice come over the Zoom recording as well while we're going into, as Dawn says, we'll call it meditation. We didn't hear it at the time. Julie sort of briefly was like, what the hell was that? But that's all explained in episode 30. So go back and watch those previous two episodes because that will blow your mind. And hopefully this one will too. Exactly. Now, on this episode, we've got a nice little treat for you, something a little different, probably something that, I'd have to say I've never seen before. What about you guys?
Ish and no. So it happened. So it's normally happening in Julie's house. This time it happened in my house. But it's something I guess I'm a little bit more comfortable with. I've got to be honest. Dead people walking around my house at night, I'm not comfortable with. I don't mind talking to them, but I'm not comfortable having them walk around and sit in my bed or anything. So this was different, wasn't it? It was again unexplainable, I think.
Yeah, and it was something that happened that you didn't know about. No. And we were actually recording a panel of mediums episode, and I believe it was about evil spirits. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was talking about going to see my priest because I had a Catholic guilt about all of this and all that kind of stuff.
So that was episode 23, if you guys are interested in watching that. And you will actually see this phenomena in that episode. Now, it was actually Elena who's on that episode. She contacted me after that recording and she said, hey, did you see that thing that flew in front of Dawn? And I was like, what? What thing flew in front of Dawn? And I went back and had a look at the recording. Obviously, I didn't scream at this one like I do the phenomena that happens around Julie, but I probably should have. But like Dawn says, this one was a little bit more gentle, a little less. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say less. What the hell? Because it's like, what the hell was that? So yeah, what are your thoughts on it, Julie? Have you ever experienced anything elemental?
I have experienced elementals, and it looks, like a light, an orb kind of thing. It's not perfectly round. It looks like it has definition. It's almost like you just have to want to keep making it bigger and bigger, to try and find the detail. It does look like it has shape and detail, and it changes shape.
And splits into two, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
It looks like it starts as two and then it joins or changes perspective. And then it almost looks like at one point you can see it like propelling itself, like making itself go, you know.
I mean, for 1 second, it's kind of like in my face, and then at the back of the room, which is, a good,
very quickly. Moves
10,
very
12
quickly.
feet away. Very, very quick. And it's not camera angle either, because I just sit on a laptop. So it's not like, I've got a great camera or anything like that. It's not perspective.
Yeah. And at one point to me, it looks like it has wings, but then as it takes off, it doesn't. Or just there's something, it just changes. It's like, that doesn't make sense. What is that?
Yeah.
Because I think at the time I said to you, Dawn, do you have moths over there? Like what's going on there? Did you have a moth in the room or something?
So for anybody who watches it, when that was recorded, that was the dead of winter. We don't have, insects flying around in the dead of winter. In the summer we do, it's you can get kind of like fruit flies and stuff like that. But in the dead of winter, and moths do not fly around unless they're after a light source. And if memory serves me right, my big light is never on when we record. I think I put my side light on and my small light to kind of like make, the light source on me rather than a head light source as we've got at the moment. So no, there's no, and the door was closed, the windows were closed because it was bloody freezing. So no, we have no insects that can be seen with the naked eye, is what I need to say about that.
Yeah. And an insect you would have responded to probably.
Yeah, if it was flying in my face, as I normally do, try and but I didn't even notice it until you contacted me, Michelle, and said, have a look at this. And I was like, what the hell? Because you'll see on the video, I don't even react at all.
And you were talking at the time, and from memory, you were talking that the word that you were saying was God. Because you were talking about talking to your priest, and you say the word God, and next minute this thing just flies up and goes over your shoulder to the back of the room. Yeah. And it was like, what the hell is that? I think at the time, actually, I don't even know how I didn't see it because you were talking. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention.
Obviously not. You weren't checking your phone, were you, when you were recording?
No.
I think there's a lot going on, though, because there were several of us and you tried to look at the whole group and, you're listening and...
it was a very busy one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big group. It was a long recording, a big recording. And I am always watching what everyone's doing, making sure everything's flowing, being the host, you've got to be on top of these things. But it was so quick. It was so quick. We'll have a look at the video in a minute and you'll see how quick it was. It was ridiculously quick. And I'm surprised Elena picked it up, but lucky she did, because that's what's sort of got us to go back and have a look at it and think, what is that?
And wasn't that the catalyst potentially of me then checking videos that we'd recorded in the past? I think
it might have been.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because I think you saying this and none of us saw it, as we were recording. I think that's what got me to think, and actually, do you know what? We've got recordings. We really should check if anything's been caught on any of the other calls. I think that was the catalyst for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do we want to take a look at it?
Do it.
All right, let's do a share screen.
And as you say, it's ridiculously quick, isn't it?
It is quick. Second. So this is Dawn up here. If you can hopefully see my pointer, my mouse. Elaine is down here. It was a rather big group. Now this doesn't go for too long, but I've done multiple clips, so we'll have a look here.
Actually, I do have the headlight on.
To become involved in this.
But you'll see as it flies. So Dawn's talking again. Like I said, we're recording the episode.
Ridicule, it's goes against God.
All right.
There you
Did you
go.
see that? Okay. So now we're going to do a close up. And this is again at regular speed, but it's a close up. Now it'll go very, very quick, but I will have after this one where it's in slow motion.
Against God.
Just like that, it's gone. So in slow motion, you can see it there. So let's just stop it frame by frame. So there it looks like it's almost split into two. Or is it wings?
Yes.
Like what is that?
I don't know. You can't really describe it, but it's so quick. Just don't know.
There it is in the next frame.
There you go. Now does that not look like wings to you?
It does look like wings.
Yeah. But they're translucent. You can see through them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's nice that your sweater is dark so that you can see.
Thank goodness.
So clearly, but really, because once it gets lost in the room, it's, you know.
And what color would you say that is? I mean, again, it's see-through.
Yeah.
Is it like a bluey white? What's that? Sorry, Dawn?
Translucent. Can you describe can you ascribe a color to it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's just
So let's have a look. Let's have a look in the next frame. It's in front of the door. Now look at that. See that? It's almost like it's split into two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more white, but it's still translucent.
And there it just kind of looks like a wisp. Like if you only saw that, you'd think like, oh, well, it was like, like smoke or you know, something like that it could be.
Exactly.
And I don't have what those things called joss sticks. I don't have them. Oh, look at it there. I don't have any joss sticks burning because my daughter can't stand the smell of them. So
joss sticks. Is that incense? What's joss sticks?
Yeah, incense sticks, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So here it's taken on another form again. You can see it here. It's sort of elongated.
Can you not see it more than that though, Shell? Because if you look at it, you can see there over the darkness of the door panel, and then just to the right of that, and then to the right of that again, and to the right of that again. That actually looks a lot bigger.
Yeah.
If it was against a dark background, that would actually be quite big.
Yeah.
Now that we're looking at it as a freeze frame.
Yeah. Well, you look at it in the next one and it becomes an orb. Oh, there it is there.
Crazy.
So then it turns into a ball. So, that's the interesting part about it. I do have some stills here where I've taken it frame by frame, but when you've taken it out, like we're all small windows in there. So close up frame by frame, not the best quality, but this gives you, these are stills. I've sort of tried to enhance it, but you just can't get it right because we had so many people on Zoom. And there it is on the door there and there. You can see it sort of split into two. See, now look at that. That's interesting. I'm going to stop that there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just see what I mean by how big it actually is there.
That almost looks like a body. And I'm just going to say that's a fairy. I reckon it's a fairy.
Yes. Or is it a face?
What's the difference?
Well,
a face. Did you say a face or a fae?
Yeah, a face. I can see the fairy, but now that you say it, I can see the eyes are a little bit dark and like a cheek and the nose. Yeah, the cheek. So that could be a face.
Ooh.
See, I can't see that. I just see like actually, no, I think I just see like elongated.
Yeah.
God, I can't describe it. Like a kind of that, but it looks a bit shapy to me. I just, again, I've my use of language, my loss of language when used to describe stuff like this, I've no words for it.
Yeah. So in the last frame, there, look at that.
Oh, wow, that's quite clear, isn't it?
Yeah. It turns into a ball of light. So that's interesting.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, have I had dealings with fairies? So for those skeptics out there,
That's a loaded question right there.
isn't it? Isn't it? But for those skeptics out there, I'm the biggest bloody skeptic going. Absolutely huge. I've had experiences when I was a kid. So my ancestry is, well, my surname's Gallagher, so that's my birth name. So, there's a lot of Irish ancestry. I'm from a place in England called Liverpool, where, again, a lot of Irish ancestry. The talk was quite normal about fairies and ghosts and spirits and all that kind of stuff. That was quite normal conversation back in the 60s, when I was born.
Really? About fairies? That surprises me.
Yeah, my mum was into all kinds of stuff. And as a kid, you kind of like just listen to these stories because they talk about, fairy rings and, maybe Mrs. So-and-so, she saw a fairy and, it was quite weirdly normal. Yeah.
It's like I've never heard another adult say that, I must admit, in my life. But again, different country, different situation. Julie?
Yeah, and communities are weird here.
There's a lot of the culture and of the Irish have fairy stories. And a lot of the lore about elementals comes from that area.
Right.
And it does, and as a kid, when we moved from the north of England to where I live now, we moved into a brand new house. So it was built in the 1970s, probably 1970. So we were the first family to ever live there. And I believe the land was built on fields. So it was all farmers' fields. It's now a massive housing estate. There's loads of houses everywhere. So when I was a kid growing up, I would be in bed and I would hear, so this is the kind of pillows we have in England. So I've got one to rest on. I'm moving house at the moment, so everything's all over the place. But I would feel that something was walking on my pillow like that. I'd be absolutely petrified because, I didn't want to open my eyes and see what it was. And I never found out what it was because I was too petrified to actually find out. But attending a spiritual college, God, I found out, 100% found out. So this spiritual college, they all talked about the fairy rings that were there. And for anybody who has heard stories, fairy rings are like mounds of grass that grow in like a circle, and that's what we call a fairy ring. Of course, me being skeptical, Annie, I'd be like, okay. Maybe it's just an over-fertilized bit of grass that, has grown different from other bits of grass. And then I think on one episode that I've already talked about this. I think I have, Michelle.
I think you have, yes. May not be released yet, but that's okay.
Okay. Where I did actually experience seeing a fairy, even though I scoffed and said, that's not a fairy, that's a moth. And then a moth flew up next to what I can only describe as a fairy. So you'll have to watch that episode to get the full scoop on that. But this, I think I have to agree with the both of you. That's not a fly.
Yeah, it's definitely something that changes shape. I think.
And jumps 10, 12 feet across the room.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
Yeah.
When Julie? I watch it move, I can easily imagine a fairy like launching itself and like turning into a ball. I can just so easily see that in the kind of graceful way it shoots across the room.
Yeah.
God, I have to agree with you, because if that was a moth or if that was a fly, like even a housefly, if that was a housefly and it flew up here in front of my face, I'd be like, I'd see it. 100% see it. And if it flew over my shoulder, it would disappear from the camera view because
Yeah.
it would become so small.
And it would be darker. I mean, your flies
Yeah.
there are the same color as every other fly in the world,
Yeah.
aren't they? Yeah.
Black, horrible things. Yeah. So,
just checking. I don't know.
Yeah. No, they're
just in case.
Yeah, they're black and horrible and disgusting. And I would be the first one if anyone flew up at me to like literally try and squat it. That's my reaction, but I don't react there at all.
No.
And there's a recent recording on YouTube of this woman who set up a camera in a river in Scotland, pointing the camera at the river, but obviously it captures trees behind it. And it's taken over, I think it's probably around about maybe half an hour or something like that. And you see the trees behind, and it's kind of like misty because of the water vapor, I'm guessing. And then all of a sudden you've got all these trees and they're all deadly quiet. And then you see movement like that, blending into the trees. And actually now I'm saying that, it's the same color as what we've just seen in that video.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, okay. So riddle me this then, because now I have questions because I don't have much to do with elementals or fairies that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
How would it have gotten into your house? Are they like spirit where they can just drop in? Are they omnipresent? Like what's their gig? What happens there?
I don't know is the answer. Okay, I've just God, this is a bit weird. Sorry, listeners, for anybody who doesn't know, I hear things occasionally in my head, and I've just heard interdimensional beings.
Oh, that would make sense. Julie, you look like you've got something to say about that.
So the story goes that fairies and leprechauns and unicorns and all those beings lived among humanity for many, 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 many years. And then humanity wasn't quite so nice to them. And so what they did was they ascended, right? They raised their vibration so that they were no longer seen by humanity. They're still here, and they can lower their vibration to come in and say hi, or we can raise our vibration to meet them. And, fairies are tricksters, so they will show up. And in Great Britain, I've heard of people who have stories about all kinds of different races of fairies or cultures of fairies, and distinguish between different kinds of things. So there are house fairies, right? I mean, they're different, but that's how they kind of appear according to the stories.
It's crazy, but you have to understand that we are talking, if that's the case, many, 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 potentially hundreds of thousands of years ago, when England was part of Ireland and the rest of Europe. Because England, is an island now. England, I say, the United Kingdom is an island, and then you have the country Ireland next door to us. But we were all joined as one. So actually, this shouldn't just be stories from England and Ireland. There should be stories of this all over Europe and all over the world.
There are,
if it's in our shared history.
There are cultural fairy-like beings in many different cultures, right? So like there are gnomes in Scandinavia. They live by the gnomes. They have them and they talk about them and have stories very similar to, the Irish stories. And I mean, we see fairies here in the US. We see other cryptids, we call them, which are animal kinds of things that aren't necessarily documented. But elementals are all along that kind of thing. They're connected to the earth or to an element like water, like mermaids, Mermaids are an
Ah,
elemental.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So, you only, I mean, just going on what you've just said, Julie, about, they ascended. When we hear stories of people writing songs or stories that they just say, the story was in their head or the song was in their head.
Mm-hmm.
You think about Tolkien, okay, J.R.R. Tolkien. He had all these stories about, the elves, the elven kingdom, and blah, 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 blah. Now, when they, separate from the Middle Earth and all that kind of stuff, are they ascending in his story? Absolutely. So, is that was he influenced to know this knowledge? So we get to know it in books and stories and fables and all this kind of stuff. But actually, we're just remembering a shared history, because you only have to look at the story of the biblical flood. So many, many, many people, our history, our knowledge of history is so new, but many, many, many people scoffed biblical flood. Oh my God, it's the Bible. It's stories by man, and they happened how many years, hundreds of years after, the death of Jesus and all this kind of stuff. Well, actually, it's been proven there was a global biblical flood due to meteors hitting the earth and causing the ice caps to melt instantaneously. So all the cultures around the world have this memory, this shared memory of this biblical flood. So why not shared memories of fairies or elementals? And we're influenced, and we get like downloads, or our imagination is influenced. All of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like other spirits, why wouldn't they want their stories told? I mean, when I investigate, that's what I keep running into are, people who've passed and just want their story remembered or told so that they can move on. So why wouldn't the fairy do that too?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so
I mean, my
interesting.
God, that leads me to think, wouldn't it be amazing with all the horribleness of Earth and the greed of humanity and the violence and the vileness of humanity, for something as miraculous as that to happen, for maybe them to show themselves again, to show this is the miracle of life and you are just wantonly just living against nature.
Yeah. Just all sounds so magical, doesn't it? So when you say, Julie, they're tricksters, does that mean they're not evil then, are they? They're just like naughty. Are they just naughty?
We might call them naughty. I mean, I feel like, again, there are kind of different maybe cultures within the fairies, but they are not spirit without ego, like we think of ego, right? I mean, they may have some kind of human-like ego, just like animals kind of have a personality, and fairies, a lot of the stories, fairies kind of want to trick humans into knowing or seeing the truth, because humans think, oh, well, we're the end of everything. We're in charge. And
we're the apex predators.
Right. And they outsmart, or they kind of manipulate or trick, or bring you into a deal that you can't get out of. Like you may have to offer them something.
Right.
They do deals.
Yeah, that used to be a story. You hear that a lot, don't you? Where if you ask anything of the elementals or the fairies, you have to give them something in return.
Wow.
That's a consistent story with all of them, I think, if you ask of them.
And it is. Yeah.
And what I've heard from people who've seen fairies recently are like, if you're out picking up trash on the side of the creek or a pond or something, like you'll see light flitting somewhere, and that's fairies. Like, they're thanking you because you're doing something good. They're concerned about the environment and those kinds of things.
Interesting. Well, I've just been educated.
There's a really great news article about a place in Ireland just recently. There's, I believe it's in the middle of a road, and it's like an enclosed area, which is the fairies' place, fairy ring, with fairy stones and all that kind of stuff. And developers wanted to tear it apart to kind of like rebuild. And all the like local people were like, no, you cannot do that. You cannot disturb the fairy thing, because there's the stories going past where, they've disturbed fairy dwellings, and it's, there's bad luck forevermore because they've disturbed, the fairy places and rocks. And Julie, you were saying about the Scandinavians. I think it's Scandinavia where this bloke had a fairy rock. And again, he took it, but it was to look after it because it would have been smashed to pieces. So he had this bloody big rock, I'm talking like 20, 30 tons, moved from where it was into his own land so it could be there forevermore, and the fairies or elves or whatever they call them in Scandinavia would be okay with that.
So what defines a fairy rock?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
I'll have to go and Google that when we're finished. I'm like, just again, more questions.
But it's all these stories of people who you think, these are grown adults, and they're talking about fairy rings and fairy dwellings and fairy rocks, but deadly serious. Deadly serious.
Jeez.
So Google those stories. They're impressive. Pretty impressive.
My mind is going in so many places right now. But anyway. But yeah, so there you go. Well, we've caught some little fairy phenomena, perhaps. Once again, Zoom has not failed us. And again, we weren't in trance or in meditation or singing Kumbaya around a fire. We were just having a conversation. And, there it was. Just like all our other Zoom phenomena that we've captured, the voices, the portal / wormhole / we don't know what that is, has been captured multiple times. Again, we've just been doing regular things, not deep off in trance, in outer space or anything like that. So
it's just normal stuff, isn't it? It's I'm sat here
us.
In a living room. Yeah.
It is, and that they see the opportunity to show themselves.
Yeah. Or is it maybe they know their stories are going to be told?
Oh God, I hope so. I want to see Julie disappear in that wormhole. I want to see fairies. I'd love to. So what are we going to see for you? That's my next question. We've seen, this wormhole thingy bobby.
Well, what do we know about Australia? Okay, they've got giant monstrous spiders.
Yeah. If there was something walking across my pillow when I was a kid or any other time, it would be a huntsman spider. I can guarantee you. And then there would be screaming. And then some.
Yeah. But that doesn't conjure up good images. I would be screaming, 100% be screaming. But yeah, wouldn't be the same in England. We don't have that many dangerous things here.
See, anything here, it'd be like, if that was a fairy, it'd be probably the Australian version where it'd want to rip your face off and kill you. But, that's, I don't know. What can I say?
dangerous there, isn't it? It's not
It's-
like, just go down the garden and, pick a few nice flowers. Check for frigging big, huge,
Yeah.
tarantula-like spiders. And God forbid you've got a bit of water in your garden. There's a frigging big crocodile in there.
Well, I'm just going to say, welcome to Australia. So
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll give that one a miss.
On
actually.
a little side note, I'll just share this with you, just because we're talking about spiders. The dogs were barking last night, and it was about 9 o'clock at night. We checked the camera, and in front of the camera, because it's got night vision, is this great big spider building this round web, round and around, and we just watching this spider in the camera just building this web, and it's huge out there. And it's
And what type of spider would that be?
I don't know, just one of the many that live out there and do their thing. That's why
It's not normal.
summer, and this is subtropical. I live in a subtropical climate, so it's a bit different. In summertime, you do not walk outside without a stick in front of you or a light, because there's those spiders that build their webs across the yard at night time. And if you walk into them, they're on your face. They are hairy. They're hairy and big fat body. Anyway, just saying. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I probably just killed tourism in Australia, but
Yeah, I was just thinking that you should work for the tourism industry.
Yeah, gosh.
Oh, but
Take
anyway.
that out of the bucket list.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I don't fancy it. I've got to be honest. Really don't fancy it because of
Look,
Yeah.
every
Giant
day,
spider encounter at my Airbnb.
every
No.
day's an adventure. Every day's an adventure. There's always screaming from this house, so and that's usually me, because there's another
every day's
huntsman.
an adventure because you could get killed.
Well,
That's not the kind of life I'd like to lead. I
This
want to be able to go from room to room without coming across something that wants to kill me.
hey, living on the edge. That's all I can say. That's just how it
Okay.
is. You just get used to it. It just becomes the norm. You guys see fairies.
You do.
Julie sees UFO, alien being encounters. We just see dangerous things.
Wow.
So-
No thanks. And that lizard you were talking about the other day that, runs really fast and ran up a tree and could rip your face off.
oh, the
thank you.
goanna. Yeah, that's
That's it,
right. Yeah.
No. And that's just walking in a park. Behave.
Yeah, well, again,
Yeah.
you've just got to watch where you're walking. Don't relax is all I'm going to say. Do not relax while you're outside, actually, or inside. Anyway. So-
Yeah. We're definitely not going to Australia, Julie, are we?
We
Well-
like things much more civilized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those
Right.
cases, if I see a fairy to be wrapped in a web, and I'll be like, oh, no, there goes another one. Anyway.
And that's why you don't have any.
Probably.
Exactly. Do you know, actually, just saying about that, you live in Australia, that would be really interesting if there were any of these kind of like, stories within the Aboriginal communities
Oh, yeah.
about elementals. I wonder if it's part of their shared history or
Yeah,
shared.
their culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreamtime stories. There are the Min Min lights in Western Australia, which are, well, so to speak, some sort of alien encounters, unidentified objects. So,
Ooh,
yeah, that's probably for another day.
yeah.
But anyway, one of our conversations that we'll probably have while we're getting together on Zoom, and then look out, there goes more phenomena next to Julie. So
There we go.
Doesn't this just prove, this conversation in itself, we started to talk about elementals and now we're kind of like, this is how our conversations go though, isn't it? When this stuff is captured. We just talk
100%.
about random stuff
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
bam.
And then
a
it just
wormhole
appears.
appears.
Yeah. It's like, huh? And they're screaming, and Mrs. Cool over there, and Julie laughing. Oh, guys, this has been a really great conversation. Look, again, you must watch episode 29, episode 30, and obviously this one to the end. And obviously, if you've watched it this far, it is near the end. And let us know what you think. We're really curious. Again, we've had this phenomena happen. We just have, as you've just heard, and seeing we just have what we call regular conversations.
Regular, random, odd conversations.
Exactly. Where we explore every possibility and all sorts of, weird and wonderful things. So we would love to, for you to comment on what you think that flew in front of Dawn and behind her. What's your take on that? And if it is a moth, how? Explain to us how. How is that so?
How did I not see it?
Yeah.
Fly up on my face. How did I not?
Yeah, exactly. Any last words, ladies?
No, it's just I have a blast doing these, conversations.
It is great fun. It is great fun. And to hear just our experiences being so human, and then the different twists from different cultures, and
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is, we all speak the same language, but our shared experiences, as you say, have a different perspective to it because of culture, community, and genetics as well. Being in the past Irish and half Welsh as well. So, who is also very a spiritual kind of like fairy. I mean, they're Celts, so it's all of that.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, guys, for being on the show. And I will put your details in the description should anyone wish to contact you, because you guys do have services, mediumship and so forth. So, so you can connect to Judy. I nearly called you Judy then. Julie and Dawn. I know who you are.
Judy Garland there. She brings into song every now and again. She's lovely.
That does happen.
It does in trance. That's a whole nother podcast and another episode.
It does in trance.
You do. You break into song when you go into trance. It's like, oh, look, Julie, actually, that's not Julie. Thank you so much, guys. It's been such a pleasure, and we will do our best to conjure more phenomena
as much as possible.
We will, because we love the excitement, the adventure, and the experience. Thank you so much, guys, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon on another episode of The Medium's Table. Thanks, guys. To view the show notes, head over to themediumstable.com.au. If you want to watch these episodes, head over to our YouTube channel, The Medium's Table Podcast.